a radio program for youth and by youth, featuring stories that talk about access of youth-friendly services, sex education, building the emotional, physical and intellectual health of youth, and advocating for government policies to strengthen youth capacities. Only on iRadio, your eye on South Sudan.
Hello, good evening and welcome to yet another episode of Zone 72 Youth Program, and my name is Winnie Eric, your host for the program. Zone 72 Youth Program focuses on the rights and choices for all adolescents and youth, and the program as well emphasizes on the three-pillared global strategy for adolescents and youth, putting young people at the center of sustainable developments. This program is brought to you in collaboration with the Canadian Association of Midwives and UNFPA. Zone 72 Youth Program airs every Saturday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. on iRadio, your eye on South Sudan. In today's edition of the program, we shall be discussing about youth participation in decision making, and we will get to understand more about it later. But before proceeding with our discussions, let's have a brief background about youth participation in decision making. Effective youth participation is about creating opportunities for young people to be involved in influencing, shaping, designing, and contributing to policy and the development of services and programs. These opportunities are created through developing a range of formal and informal mechanisms for the youth participation, from youth advisory groups to focus groups, from ongoing consultation work to supporting youth-led projects. There are many reasons for including young people in decision making, and according to UNFPA, Youth Advisory Panel is the platform for young people to engage with UNFPA and inform its programming, especially on matters related to adolescents, gender-based violence, and youth in both development and humanitarian settings. It is also the demonstration of UNFPA's commitment to young people's empowerment and their rights in accordance with basic human rights principles, the Convention on the Rights of the Child, and UN Youth Strategy. In the context of UNFPA's right-based approach, youth participation is not only an end but also a practical necessity from a results-based perspective to ensure that the organization's work is responsive to the real needs, interests, and specific contexts of young people. In this sense, the establishment of the Youth Advisory Panel attests to UNFPA's vision and conceptual shift, moving away from working for young people to working in partnership with young people to ensure youth-friendly approaches and action. So what is Youth Advisory Panel, and how is the ministry going to work with Youth Advisory Panel group to continue pushing for youth agenda? For a better discussion on today's topic, I am now joined by Mary Marley, a program analyst, adolescent and youth, UNFPA South Sudan, and Anna Maneno, Youth Advisory Panel Chairperson. You are most welcome to Zone 72 Youth Program on iRadio.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, to start our discussion with, briefly tell us what is decision making and how does it benefit the youth? Yes, Maneno, let me start with you.
Thank you so much for hosting us. Good evening to every listener out there. As introduced, my name is Anna Maneno, the chairperson for the Youth Advisory Panel. What does it mean to be in decision making as a youth? Most times, first of all, I want to thank UNFPA for coming up with that initiative to form in a program or a group of young people to be able to be part in decision making. first of all, before we do the decision making, there's a decision to be made. And then in the process, that's where policies are being pushed out. Projects are being implemented. So when young people are involved in the decision making, you realize that the young people's voices are being counted. Because UNFPA mostly works with young people. And then now they realize that the young people need to be involved. So these are the young people who are going to speak about the issues that are affecting them. So young people who are going to talk about the first thing about the youth advisory panel were from all the 10 states in South Sudan, plus the 3 administrative areas. So every state is represented.
Okay.
Every state is represented, meaning everything, everyone's voice is being represented. Like, we cannot bring all the young people. That's why UNFPA had to say, okay, let's see the young people who are already doing things in line with what we are doing, so they can give us the view. So meaning in decision making, just youth voices to be counted, they be part of it. Not when they say UNFPA is going to implement this project without involving the young people, without asking what is right or what is the best way to tackle the particular issue affecting the young people in South Sudan.
All right. Okay, thank you so much, Anna, for that. Yes, from the UNFPA side, yes, Mary Murray, you are representing UNFPA, more especially in the side of youth, side of young people. So tell us, how does decision making benefit the youth in the country?
First of all, thank you for hosting us. Indeed, it's an opportunity for us to come and talk about the issues of young people, because this is the biggest population and they are nowhere to be found. So it's very critical for us to include the voices of the 70% young people in whatsoever thing we are doing. And it's also in line with our UNFPA strategy for young people, whereby young people is central in our programming. Because if you look into UNFPA mandate, which is looking into issues of sexual reproductive health, and we are addressing the 3 zeros, if you have ever heard of the 3 zeros. 0 maternal death, 0 harmful practices, 0 unmet need for family planning. And when you look into our context of South Sudan, who are these people dying? Who are these mothers dying? These are mostly young people, because we have high rate of child marriage. And we cannot ignore young people's voices in our planning and decision making. So it is very critical for us to support the young people, to bring their voices, to advise us even as UNFPA, and also advise our partners as well as our government counterpart. Because if we don't consider them in whatsoever we are doing, it means we are leaving out the main voice of the nation. So it's very critical for UNFPA to look into issues of young people voices. And unless you develop a structure for these young people to be there, it's always difficult. We have been talking about the issue of youth participation. We develop guide even in the current draft youth policy, which is not passed yet. There is also youth participation, and even the recently developed a youth strategy. Also, we took the issue of youth voices critical, and all the youth in the 10 states and 3 administrative areas were consulted in the strategy. This is because we know it is them who knows what is right for them. Sometimes we sit in our tables as adults to decide for them, but it is them who knows the right decision for themselves.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that. You talk about sexual reproductive health and rights of young people. So tell us about the Youth Advisory Panel and their roles towards sexual reproductive health and rights and youth participation.
Yeah, I think I have mentioned it that one of the critical area for UNFPA is the issue of sexual reproductive health, and it is measured through the 0 maternal death. And these young people, they are very critical in promoting this agenda of sexual reproductive health and rights. And as I've said, most of the girls are married at the tender age, before the age of 18 years. The reason data says that 52% of women in this country are married before the age of 18. So if we don't address this issue of sexual reproductive health among this population, who are soon going to get married, soon they are going to become pregnant, then we have not done much. So it is these young people, we need to, of course, we need to build their capacity, making them understand issues of sexual reproductive health, and they will go and advocate on behalf of the other young people. These few will talk on behalf of the other. But in the future, we are going to have it more vibrant chapters in the states, also to push the agendas at the state context.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for that. Now, coming to you, Anna Maneno, as the chairperson for Youth Advisory Panel. Yeah, tell us, for instance, like what is the Youth Advisory Panel and their roles towards sexual reproductive health and rights, and also youth participation?
Thank you so much. Just like Mama Mary already enlightened it. Young people are the ones who are affected so much when it comes to the issue of fistula, to the issue of maternal death, to the issue of unintended pregnancy, to the issue of sexual transmitted infections and diseases. So, and then we believe that the youth advisory panel, just like how youth advisory and then panel, so meaning it's a panel, it's a union, or it's a group of young people who are basically trained. Yeah, one thing is UNFPA gives us the training. They do not only choose us, but then they also give us a training of capacity building, so we understand into depth about UNFPA, because they believe not everyone knows so much about UNFPA. So they teach us in depth about these issues of sexual reproductive health. Then this team of the panel, who are all youth, very young, between the age of 18 and 24, they come in and they sit. They advise UNFPA, give UNFPA advice on best. And again, you should know that the youth advisory panelists, do not only advise UNFPA, we are also given an opportunity to carry out activities in the communities, because now some of us already did different activities in the community, meaning we have gotten things and the issues that are already happening, and now going in as the YAP members or the youth advisory panels to go and carry out the activities we are going to carry based on the sexual reproductive health. We get to learn the issues, the gap between UNFPA and the young people, because they're already doing great, but then we're asking, is it effective to the young people? So which one is the best method? So we are like the voices to the other people who cannot have direct access to UNFPA. So we do not only advise UNFPA, because UNFPA does not work by itself. UNFPA works with its implementing partners. UNFPA works hand in hand with the government, and UNFPA also works hand in hand with the donors. Meaning every advice we're going to give them, we are going to give them as the youth advisory panel is taken into consideration. Now, where do we come in decision making? UNFPA brings us in when knowing that we need to tackle out, just like said earlier by Mary. They see, for many years, the elderly people sit and they decide what is right for the young people. But now it is them sitting with the young people and hear from the young people. Okay, A, B, C, D is happening, and then what is the solution? What is the right way to tackle it? Yes.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Thank you for that. Now, coming to you, Mary, UNFPA in South Sudan has always been basing their programming around youth. What has been a critical stand that brought in the formation of the YAP members? Okay, let me say YAP advisory, youth advisory panel.
Yeah, like I said, in most cases, the voices of young people are missed out, especially the younger one, the 10 to 24 years old. If you see our context where we say their youth may be in the parliament, their youth maybe in executive, but which youth are those ones? They might be beyond 24 years old or even beyond 35 years old. So what about these younger ones who are mostly affected with what we have talked about? They are the ones affected with child marriage. They are the ones affected with sexual transmitted infection. Where is their voices? So when UNFPA thought of having the younger youth is to get the voices of the younger ones. And as Anne has said, this process was through competitive process. It was advertised countrywide. Young people applied, shortlisting were done, and they were engaged in some interview to know their knowledge and how they are going to really promote the agenda of the Youth Advisory Panel. So the aim was to bring the younger voices. We know already the older voices are already there, but where is the younger ones? And also it's another way also in to prepare them for other opportunities as well. Because every time we expose them to trainings, if there are regional meetings or conferences, they have to go there to see what other youth are doing in other countries. When they come back, now they know, okay, this is what is happening in other places, we need also to do in our country. So we need to expose them and train them. And it is a 2 years program. After 2 years, we will get new one. Of course, definitely some of them might have passed 24. Then now we have to get new group also. It is going to be a continuous program and engaging the young people. It's a platform, in fact, created just to create that dialogue, information exchange, both between UNFPA, young people, government, young people, partners. It's just an exchange of information between different groups of young people.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, taking you back a bit, when did YAP start in South Sudan? When?
YAP is very, very new. It is this year.
Okay.
Yeah. We had the first induction training for them. It was in August, and they are just barely even, 3 months or, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's so interesting.
They are really, really new still, yeah.
Okay, all right, that's a good move. Thank you so much for that. Now, what are some of the challenges that you have seen as a young person facing youth on sexual reproductive health and rights? Yes, Maneno, I'm going back to you. Yeah.
The challenges facing young people.
Yes.
One is culture.
What's wrong with the culture?
The culture is good, but again, some of these cultures hinders the implementation of sexual reproductive health. Like again, imagine you're advising young mothers, maybe you're talking to them and then they said, as a married woman, you're not supposed to use any family planning without the consent of your husband. And again, they will say, no, our culture does not allow us to use this. So we need to produce. They still have those statements. And again, where you're bringing in the issue of family planning and they say, no, it's the Western culture. It's not our culture. You're fighting our culture. So it looks like a conflict of interest in culture. And again, there's a lot of stereotype. Like imagine you're talking and they say, family planning is not for younger people. Because again, we should know that contraceptives come in to protect every other person. Like UNFPA, I love that statement of where every child is wanted. Meaning, how can we mitigate the teenage pregnancy? Because I believe not every teenager really wants to be pregnant.
Yeah,
so
sure.
they do not intend in it. How about we teach them? Because it's not only telling them to use a contraceptive. It's into depth that we have to engage and talk to them about sexual education. We do know very well that majority of them do not have the access to get the knowledge. And then it's the peer pressure that comes in when they hear from a friend and they also want to indulge in it, to get to know, like they want to experience it, to know it through the experience, which is very dangerous for them. And then here comes the stigma for those ones who are already having HIV, where you're talking and they're like, oh, they have the clue that comes in. And again, I am still grateful that UNFPA has given the young people the space. Yes, we might be like 3 months. Of course, it's a long process for us to come through to be part of the youth advisory panel. It was really competitive. I know there were so many people, and the interview was very tough because not only staff from South Sudan interviewed it. There were people who are international, had to come in and you're interviewed, and it's really very tough. So we believe that by the time they now chose the members that come in, then again, another challenge is not every young person has access to these services. We have members, I'm still glad that some of these members are from deep in the States. They're able to talk about the issues happening in the states. Now let's talk about the issue of communication. They do not have the network. And then let's talk about communication can be also in transportation. The access to the other people in the deeper and remote areas. They do not have the services. And then it's like a challenge back to us. Again, another challenge is how these young people cannot be able to decide, to choose. We all know very well that still child marriage is so rampant in South Sudan, and it's so happening. And some of these young people, it's very hard to protect them. Imagine you want to protect a young person because you believe she is very young and she does not deserve to get married at that tender age of 13 or 14 years. Then let's believe he's very young. Just because someone can afford the dowry, they don't need to get married. And then now you cannot speak because they say, okay, this culture says like this, it's our right. That alone comes in. How about we put the Child Act? How about we start implementing it? How about we put the customary law? Do we still have it? Then we have so many questions that are still running out. But I believe we still have 2 years. So we have started with the first year and we have not gone half of it. But the fact that UNFPA is in close contact with us and they have so much influence and relationship with the government, I believe with time we're gonna implement and change a lot of things.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Anna, for that interesting one. Now, what can you feed in the UNFPA programs as a YAP member to provide solutions to those problems? I think this one goes direct to Mary.
Okay. Thank you very much. UNFPA is trying to create an enabling environment for the Youth Advisory Panel for them to be able to deliver on their responsibilities. She has raised the issue of communication. We are looking forward to support them with the communication, whether being digital communication, including transportation. In fact, we had challenges because some of the Youth Advisory Panel, there are people with disability, which indeed needs to be helped, even with logistic within the states that they are coming from. So what we did was to target the states that we have our hub offices, where at least we have vehicles that can, at least if there's an activity, they can support the Youth Advisory Panel with disability to take them from one location to another. For the ones in Juba, I know they might not have resources to take transport. We try to give them transport refund. We give them small stipend to facilitate their transportation. And those are some of the initial things that we are starting to work with them towards it. And as I've said at the beginning, we are also building their capacity, training them in different areas on how to engage with the different stakeholders on different items. How do you present yourself? You need to have enough knowledge, skills, and evidence on what you are talking. If you want to go and talk to the governor about issues of child marriage, what tools do you have in your hand? You need to have data. You need to have data. You need to show them that when you marry a young girl, these are the consequences: economic consequences, education, health, and so forth. You need to go with those information at hand, so that when you talk to someone, at least you can advise them that this is what is happening and this is what can be done to help these girls out of that. So we are helping them slowly by slowly for them to have the required knowledge, the required skills to do advocacy. So we are moving slowly, but we'll be there.
Okay.
Time. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for that feedback. Now, how is the ministry going to work with the YAP group to continue pushing for youth agenda?
Definitely, as I said, the Youth Advisory Panel, they will not work with UNFPA only as such, because definitely what UNFPA is addressing is what the government is addressing, because we align our work plans or country program to the government development plan. So whatsoever is in the government development plan is what we pick and we put it into our plans. And if the Youth Advisory Panel is picking this from our plan, definitely they are addressing issues that are of concern to the government. child marriage is one of the biggest thing in the government. They have already put a timeline that child marriage might end by 2030. So if that is the government vision, definitely the youth advisory panel will also work with that vision. How will they help to end the issue of child marriage? If the government is saying they want to reduce death from HIV, and we know very well that most of the new HIV infection is among young people, so the youth advisory panel will also work with those targets of the government, because the UN is supporting the government to implement their vision. So definitely what the YAP is doing is what is in the interest of the government. It's unfortunate that the representative of the government is not here. He's supposed to be here in this talk show also to say about the stand of the government. As I've said earlier on, youth participation is already in the government documents. It is in the youth policy, it is in the youth strategy, and it is in so many documents of the government promoting youth participation.
Okay.
So it is not out of context of the government.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much for that interesting one. Dear listener, you are still listening to Zone 72 Youth Program on iRadio UI on South Sudan. And that was Mary Marley, a program analyst, adolescent and youth UNFPA South Sudan, and Anna Maneno, Youth Advisory Panel Chairperson speaking. Our studio lines are now open. You can call on 0922-986-986 or 0911-986-986. So you can send a text message to 0913-986-986. We are discussing about youth participation in decision making. As a listener, tell us what is the importance of decision making to the youth, and also why should young people stand for their rights. Also feel free to ask question of clarification, as I'm having guests with me in the studio who will respond to you instantly. Lekulu mustamain taizai radio itumlisa basmale barnamij bita Zone 72 Youth Program algijale itakun kulu yom sabit min sa arbala di sa kamsa walela an munakasa bitanna bikelim an musharakata shabab fi amulu qararat, yani le muhim عشان شباب بيكون جزء في عمل قرارات، وكمان لقوا مهم عشان شباب بيوقف مع حق بتاع لو عندك سؤال مرحب توالي عشان في ضيوف معنا في داخل استوديو تايزاي راديو اللي بيجاوبوا لإيتا توالي. I read you.
Radio.
Yes, please. Your name and where you're calling from?
We are connecting to Realist County.
John from where?
Realist County, Warabi State.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Just one.
Okay, John, if it's network issue, you can call us back on our same studio line, 922-986-986 or 0911-986-986, or you can send a text message to 0913-986-986 to share your opinion. And do not forget that you are still listening to Zone 72 Youth Program on iRadio UI on South Sudan. iRadio. Hello, iRadio? 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 0989-969-986 Kanta magos lufiraga mta risala itabak der send lana SMS fi 09-986-986 yes alila annabi binakis an musharakata shabab fi amulu qararat lo indaksual fogo marhab tuwali ashan fi diyuf maana fi dakil studio taizai radio alibijuabo leita I radio. All right, you can call us back on our same studio line. Yeah, yes, Maneno, I'm coming back to you. You said UNFPA is training you to do activities in the communities. What are some of those activities you do?
I think before I answer that question, something about the Youth Advisory Panel is amazing. Is the fact that there's inclusion in gender. We have both males and females. We have people with physical disability, the one with physical impairment, and the fact that UNFPA, there's no segregation. Yes, because like they go out, part of one of our members even had to represent us in one of the regional programs, and then they did not like, and then she did it to her best. And the fact that yes, they're supporting and they give us training even in the digital wise, because if you now follow, like some of us who are not even on Twitter before, who are not active on Twitter, maybe on Facebook or on any other social media platform, but they gave us that training and they help the support. They even come in, okay, is it data? How about we help the young people? Like they are coming in different direction to make sure we are vigilant, to make sure we're doing the other things. Now some of the members have done different activities, like they've had the school outreach programs on sexual reproductive health, basically on mitigating teenage pregnancy, raising awareness. And again, we have another program like the radio talk show. It's part of the program for YAP. They've put part of the program for YAP, and then the activities we're having for the 16 days of activism, those are for YAP. And again, next week we're having a program on menstrual hygiene in Mangala. This is where YAP members coming in, and then UFP gives us all the materials, everything that we need, meaning even if financial, in the knowledge, skills, in everything, they support us, they make sure they give us the full board. And I was like, okay, do this. And then as young people are like, okay, we have the energy, how about we do it?
Okay. All right, thank you so much for that. Let's hear from a caller. I read you. Hello, I read you. 0922-986-986 or 0911-986-986, or you can send a text message to 0913-986-986. In case you can't reach via our call lines, you can still send for us a message on our Facebook page. And our discussion of today is all about youth participation in decision making. I read you. 09-899-986-986 au 09-119-986-986. Aitabirasulu risala fi 09-3-986-986. As a caller, tell us what is the importance of decision making to the youth, and also why should young people stand for their rights. Feel free to share your comment on our Facebook page, or you can call us on our studio line on 922-986-986 or 0911-986-986. Hello, I read you. I read you. 0922-986-986 or 0911-986-986, or you can send for us a text message to 0913-986-986. In case you can't reach via our call lines, you can still send for us message on our Facebook page. I read you. Hello, I read you. I read you. Alright, sawa gatana vitabu lakini tabagder kolana try keep calling au itabagdera sulena risala fi 09-986-986 alila na binakis an musharakata shabab fi amulu qararat, yani li umuhim ashan shabab bikun juzu fi amulu qararat o kaman li umuhim ashan shabab biwogif ma hak bita umon. I read you. I read you.
Hello.
Yes, please. What's your name and where are you calling from? Hello, I read you. 0922-986-986 or 0911-986-986. Make sure if you're calling, don't use the SMS line. You can call us via our call lines. SMS line is for only message, or if you can't even reach via our SMS line, feel free to share your comment on our Facebook page. Yes, and we are discussing about youth participation in decision making. Do not forget that Zone 72 is a program that comes to you every Saturday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. on iRadio, your eye on South Sudan. And this program is brought to you in collaboration with the Canadian Association of Midwives and UNFPA. iRadio. iRadio. 922-986-986. Okay, Mary, what made you like to pick interest in developing YAP as UNFPA?
Yeah, I think I said at the beginning that in most things that we do, the voices of young people is not coming out very clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And our mandate requires us to fulfill the potentials of young people. And definitely, if they are not there, then it's not complete achievement. And we know in South Sudan generally, there's no opportunity for young people to really to have that platform to talk or to say something. So that is the first thing that we thought. As I've said, we develop a youth participation guide. And we provide that opportunity also for the state government also to engage youth in their youth partners forum and so forth. But still, the younger youth are not there, whereby they are the most affected with the problems that we have been talking about. Mm-hmm. So it is a deliberate move to bring the voices of youth, of the younger youth, in fact.
Okay.
Yeah, to engage them in policy dialogue, in the policy processes. They need to be part and partial of all the process. And in the process also, we are building their capacity for leadership also. Because unless we engage them, then we will not prepare them for future. So we need to engage them at the younger age to prepare them to take up leaderships. So it is very critical to have the voices of youth, especially the younger youth. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Let's hear from a caller. I read you. 0922-986-986 or 0911-986-986 to share your opinion. You can tell us what is the importance of decision making to the youth or to young people, and why should young people stand for their rights. And also feel free to ask questions, because I'm having guest with me in the studio. That is Mary Marley, a program analyst, adolescent and youth, UNFPA South Sudan, and Anna Maneno, youth advisory panel chairperson. They are here to respond to your questions. If you can't reach via our call lines, you can send for us message on our SMS line, or you can also leave your comment on our Facebook page. I read you. Hello, I read you. 0999-986-986 and my name is Winnie Eric, your host for the program. Do not forget that you are still listening to Zone 72 Youth Program that comes your way every Saturday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. I read you. Hello, I read you. 09-986-986 au 09-119-986 au tabagder rasulu risala fi 09-139-986 kanta mago sulu itabagder follow itabagder comment fi Facebook page bitana ata I read you.
Hello, I radio.
Yes, please. Your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from...
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, you're calling from where and your name?
My name is Abraham. I'm calling from High Baraka.
Welcome, Abraham.
Yeah. I'm calling about this issue.
Yes, welcome.
Great. The awal haja ana lazim de gul se nes balena nas kubar. Especially suker batla kibir. So digil lazim asan lazim digitio ya mana lazim digitio tenitis lazim digitio tayar kes suker lazim digit بيعرفوا حاجات لما لازم بيجيب بكرة لازم بيجيب ذات لا في مهمة له ديرو ده كويس في مرحلة القانون وكويس جديد أنا لازم بشكر ناس جندر بالانس بينه قانون ده يعني سكر ما بعرفه ولا أنا متأكد كان هذا ما كان بيجي كبير بيجي بعرف ده حاجة لو أنا يعني أنا بجد بمرتاح في برنامج بتاعكم في يوم تحليله بينه ده برنامج يفا شديد.
Okay, Abraham. Ana indi swala ita. Yani le uo muhimu عشان شباب بيوقف مع حق بتاع أمون أو مع حقوق بتاع أمون.
على سبب أمون لازم يعني ده متعرفات كتوم ما هو ما بعرفه لكن لازم هذا ما لازم كان أعرفه كويس هو لازم ده حق كتوم أنا لازم يا لازم بيجي لازم بيجي بجنا شكر بينه هو ما بعرف. هو ما بعرف لكن لازم أنا على هو الباينه لازم أنا على كويس.
Okay, shukran. All right, thank you so much, Abraham, for your positive feedback. Let's also hear from another caller. I read you. 0922-986-986 or 0911-986-986. So you can send a text message to 0913-986-986 to share your opinion. As a listener, tell us what is the importance of decision making to young people, and also why should young people stand for their rights. Also feel free to ask questions regarding the topic of today, as I'm having guests in the studio who will respond to you immediately. I read you. Hello, I read you.
Hello?
Yes, please. Your name and where you calling from? Hello, Ismak Munu. All right, 0992-986-986 I read you. Now, I read you.
Winnie.
Yes, please.
Kodakol.
Akol zaman to will marhab.
Zaman to will تجد.
نعم.
شكرا للبرنامج وشكرا كمان للجاز. أنا كنت أشوف قبل هو سؤال بتاع ده سمي لكن أنا مقصود ضمن إنه الناس جالس في الاستوديو. في سؤال كده أنا شفته قبل هم قال إنه هم يعني عمل سلكت كله في 10 ولاية وهي 3 إدارية دول كله عشان إنه يكون بوي بتاع ناس دول كله. سؤال بتاعي كان بس كده بعد ما إنه ناس دول عندهم مانديت إنه بعدين يطلعوا ناس دول تاني ويشوفي شباب تاني يجي يقدم أصوات ولا بكون قاعد بعدين إنه السيستم بتاع making process in developing the right of people or the young people within the country. I can so determine before whether another before to consent or before to change. Allah swal with I tell you, let's not so it was good to be able to Mahima because Shabab au Shabab put into my sword to Matama, whom a him will not name. Swal the same given lay, Lano, Mahim, Lado Shab, or Shabbat, decision making process. Them him, Janu can Madun Shabab, and Mataki Mafia of good nature. I shall get home him, Ita Betala Hag with a Jana, out with a Shabab. I shall Bukra Oma, Big Bob the same process. The master it as a video, Bukra Madun Sod, which as Jana Sahara Jai Bukura Dam, Manato in a Bukuti Media House, Bukun Master in Sudan. While we should let them him cool to bed, the eye is all to bed, Dema roll, but Mukuma, our UNAFTA. أو جزء من الجماعة الأخرى البسات الشباب إنه يلقى الحق بتاعهم. الرول كله لجنا القاعدين في بيوت بتاعهم معهم وأبوه عشان إنه يدي فرصة عشان جنا لما تدي فرصة في بيت بتاعه بين بيت بتاع الراجل إنه بابا ده يعمل كده أو مي ده يعمل كده معناته البيت ده بكون شنو بكون كلام إنه نتيجة بعدين لما نكون عنده بوليتيك بعدين البرودكت بتاع البيت ما بوقع. لكن جنا كمان يفهم وفرصة اللي عندنا هنا للشباب بتاعنا أنا ما بعرف نسألنا كان في حكومة ولا كان في وزارات ثانية إلا من الجماعة يبغى بسألنا لكن الحكومة بتاعنا في ذاك الدولة ما بدينا الشان عشان إنه الصوت بتاع الشباب يقدر يتكلم في مكاننا وإنه قاعدين شغل ما قاعدين كلامنا لكن بكرة بعد كده إنه يجار ويعوري wanina bakun productive bita this country.
Okay. All right. Sukran Khalis akola kolma suwal bitako musharaka bitaki tabiligoni tija to batuya menediu tanali fidakil studio taiza radio kede nasuma min kola tani I radio. Hello I radio. All right, yes. What can you say about the question of akola call? But before that, before thinking of that, let's also hear from another caller. I radio.
Hello.
Yes, please. Your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, connection to John Wilson, one from Gorial East County, Warab State.
You're welcome, John Wilson.
Thank you very much. It is my privilege to connect to Ari after a very long period of time.
Wow, you're most welcome.
Thank you very much. I just want to only ask a question. I don't want to contribute to the point, but just to ask a question. For our guest who is in the studio. Isn't it? Hello?
Yeah, we are getting you, John.
Thank you very much. So, my question is, as the youth of South Sudan, we have seen a lot of challenges that are facing youth. Not only that they need to use to contribute to the programs, but also we have got a lot of problems. Like, for instance, when you walk around towns of South Sudan, you may find that there are foreigners, a lot of foreigners who are privileged more than the citizens in the South Sudan. And as the youth in South Sudan, I would want to ask a question that if foreigners are more, are more loved than the citizens, what do you think youth can do in their own country to maybe share and to enjoy, the privileges of South Sudan? Because we have no chance here to the foreigners who have maybe shops, to the foreigners who are working in other government institutions, in the market and so on and so on. And youth here, I don't see whether youth are given right, to enjoy the resources of the country. For example, when you have a contract, maybe you have a building that you want to have a construction going on at the boss working in the government in South Sudan, you may go and bring a foreigner rather than bringing a citizen to come and complete that contract and benefit from it. This is my question.
Okay, John, I also have a question for you.
All right, you're welcome.
All right, what do you think would be the importance of decision making to young people just like you?
Of course, it is a very nice question and you're welcome. What is supposed to is that for us, we need job opportunities because we have lack. We don't have, we lack job opportunities in our country. So when you look at the illiteracy rate in South Sudan, you may see that maybe 10% or 5% are literate. But when, for example, the organization is advertising a position, you may find that they are requiring bachelor degrees, they are requiring master degrees and PhDs. And a young nation who has just got independence some 10 years ago, where do they expect, for us to acquire all these master degrees and bachelor degrees while we are still, while we are still pursuing our studies? And if you don't have this, my dear, you will not have chance to work in any organization.
Okay. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, John, for your contribution. Let's now hear from our guest before we pick another call. Yeah, briefly, you can tell us, you can respond to a caller's question and also clarify to John's concern.
Can I answer to John's concern?
Yes.
To every youth listening to me now, there's one challenge I got this year. You know, when you travel, you get to realize a lot of the gap we have in the country. A lot of young people do not know their rights. How many have access to the Constitution? Do they even know about the peace agreement? That alone will know that if there's ignorance, of course any other person can come, because they know how to maneuver their ways out to enjoy. And again, there is no any African country I've seen a government providing jobs. That's one mindset we should really remove as young people. How about we become innovative enough to employ ourselves? That alone comes to a challenge of our education system. Yes, all of us, everything is not going to change in a day. But then we should go miles ahead to even learn beyond what we learn in the classes. Okay, if the secondary school is not giving you enough, the primary school, the university, go ahead, there's internet. The world is so virtual. Go learn things online. Be innovative. What is that skill that you have that is so unique? One challenge, we have the copy and paste character a lot, but then if we become so innovative, you realize that at a very young age, you start employing others. So become a job creator than a job seeker. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Now, what can you say about a caller calls question? You guys are reaching as YAP team to the states, right? Are those people right now you're working with going to be the one to remain, or you will recruit more young people?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Akol, for your question. This is the first cohort of the Youth Advisory Panel, and they are going to be there for 2 years, and then we'll get a new group. And as I've said, this is still an initial stage of this Youth Advisory Panel in South Sudan. We will see how we can really scale it up. We might think of even having chapters in the states, because problems of South Sudan is too much. Maybe 2 people per state might not be enough. And you know, young people are also very dynamic. You find them today here, tomorrow you'll find them somewhere. So if you are relying only on 1 person or 2 people, you might find that 2 of them are nowhere to be found in the state. So at least if you have a group of them in a state as a small chapter, it will be better. So these are some of the things that we can think through it, while we still want to see the current cohort, how they will be moving. After 2 years, we will get a new batch. And maybe we can also have an evaluation to see what is it that they are able to do well, and what are the gaps, and how can we improve in the new cohort. So as I've said, it's still at the initial stage, and definitely we will improve on it and scale it up. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I want to add into the issue of John, who talks about the issue of foreigners taking our jobs. Indeed, you cannot really, this government cannot employ the 3 million young people into the system. It will not work. Not even the NGOs can employ all the 3 million young people. So what we need to do is, we need to build the skills of our young people to create opportunities for themselves. UNFPA is looking forward to have a training of 1,000 young people on entrepreneurship skills, because these are the missing skills. We are not like our neighbors, Uganda or Kenya, who create jobs for themselves. For us, we wait for government jobs and NGO jobs. So we need to change the mindset of young people to start thinking outside the box, create jobs for themselves. This only can happen when we really sensitize them to understand the issue of entrepreneurship instead of looking for white-collar jobs.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for that clarification. Let's also hear from another caller. I read you. Hello, I read you. 0922-986. I read you. Hello, I read you. 922-986-986 or 09-11986-986. Hello, I read you.
Hello, hi.
Yes, please. Munu?
يا حديث رم يا حديث رم
مرحب توالي يا حديث.
أنا بسلمك وضيوف المعزل في الاستوديو UNDP.
شكرا. UNFPA.
طيب سؤال حقي أول حاجة إني سؤالين. السؤال الأول المنظمة مع حكومة لأنهم شركاء. العالم الشباب ديل دورهم في جنوب السودان في الدستور ولا ما بيعرفوا حقهم في الدستور شنو بالنسبه لشبابنا دستور جنوب السودان. السؤال الثاني الدور حقهم للشباب لانه الشباب بتاعنا طبعا هم بيجوا في سرعات يعني السرعه في جنوب السودان الحرب وكده بيجوا خشوا بسرعه.
نعم.
فدورهم شنو؟ اللي بيعلموا ناسنا مع الشركاء بتاعهم في الحكومه بانه الشباب دول يشوفوا حلول يتدربون. هسه الشباب دول كل الناس بيتكلموا عن السياسه وكده يعني حتى الشباب زمان بيعملوا نظافه وبيقطعوا قش وبينظفوا المستشفى. هسه البلد مليان قش ومليان شجر وكده والشباب دول قاعدين يفرجوا زي ما بلدهم يعني الشباب دول مالهم. شكرا.
Okay. All right, Sukran Khalis Maswal Bitak Itabiligone Tija Bito Batia Wes Geni Gerip Ma Radio Bitak. I'm going to pick now one call. After that we call it a good evening. You still have the chance. One last caller on 0922 986 986 or 0911 986 986. I read you. Sifuri 9828986 Hello, I read you. 0922-986-986 or 0911-986-986, or you can send a text message to 0913-986-986. Yes, you still have the chance to share with us. Tell us what is the importance of decision making to the youth, and also why should young people stand for their rights. I read you. Hello, I read you.
Yes.
Yes, what's your name and where are you calling from?
You are talking with Kuku Awad Sabil from Checkpoint.
Kuku Awad Sabil, long time. Welcome.
That is very amazing.
You're welcome.
That topic جاء في مرة واحدة يعني بالعربي بس أنا ما ماجن أستعجل في الكلام ده.
شكرا.
إلا الرصيدين تاع.
شكرا.
ده توبيك كويس وده يعني ده البرنامج تمام 100%. يا جماعة شباب ما هبا شغل. شباب ما هبا شغل كله لو بيجا في منظمة داري يهزر عشان ياولوا كم لو في كم 100 نفر ولا قوتوا كم؟
ألفي.
1000 نفر. كويس؟
نعم.
فالناس دي دار لهم حرية بالكاملة هم بقدر بعمل شيء. فالكريم بس أنا كان نادي للكريم. الكريم لنا لما نادي الكريم الشيء كله واضح.
All right, شكرا. Okay. Shukran Khalis Kuku Awasibil ma musharaka bitak kanana mashul call bitak. Don't worry, and now we just temir beneptu barnamik. So we are now going back to our guest. After that we call it a good evening. Yes, what can you say about the question of Yidis? Yes. I think this is all about the role, you do as UNFPA towards empowering these young members.
Thank you Habib from Rang. Shukran عليك يعني إنت سألت عن كيف الشباب ممكن يفهم الدستور جنوب السودان. وده جزء من الحاجات الناقص في شبابنا. يعني الدستور عندنا الدستور بتاع جنوب السودان الانتقالي. لكن كم شباب اللي بيعرف قال عندنا الدستور وفي شنو داخل الدستور. ده جزء من الحاجات اللي يعني missing في حياة بتاع شبابنا. عشان كده يعني دارينا خلقوا الفرصة للشباب. كيف نقدر نوعيهم عن القوانين الموجود في البلد. جزء منه يهو الدستور. قبل قلنا عندنا حاجة اسمه سياسة بتاع شباب بتاع جنوب السودان. كم جزء من الشباب ديل اللي بيعرف السياسة لسه قاعد في البرلمان لسه ما داو. So دي جزء من الحاجات نينا دارينا واي الشباب عشان يعرف قال عندهم حاجات كده. يعني مرات بيكون عندنا قوانين دي لكن ما في شاب يعرف. نقول ال peace agreement ده. في peace agreement في حاجة اسمه youth entrepreneurship fund which is supposed to be developed as part of the peace agreement. كم سبب يعرف قال في حاجة زي ده. طبعا الأزمة بتاع شباب يهو كلام الemployment. الemployment ده قلنا يعني الحكومة ولا منظمات ما بقدر يودي يعني فرص بتاع شغل لكل 3 مليون شباب في البلد. لكن إلا الشباب يخلقوا لنفسهم شغل. لكن كيف يخلقوا لنفسهم شغل؟ يعني لو كان ال entrepreneurship development fund ده عملوا يعني ممكن الشباب ممكن يقدر يشيلوا حاجة اسمه capital يبدأ البيزنس. so ده جزء من الحاجات لازم مطالبات بتاع الشباب يمشي فيه. لكن كيف نخليهم يعرف قال في حاجات زي ده؟ في جزء من ما بيعرف قال في حاجات زي ده. so ده بيكون فرصة زادوا عشان زادوا يعني نحن نشتغل مع الشباب كيف نوعيهم في الحاجات الموجود ده حق من الحقوقهم. شكرا.
Okay, thank you so much for that clarification. Now, what is your last remark regarding our topic of today? Let me start with Anna Maneno.
Yeah, thank you once again. And personally, I'm grateful for UNFPA and again the Ministry of Youth. Yes, they already, like in our recent training early this week, they already promised us some help. Like in the recognition letters in the states to give easier access and easier like operation of the activities. The other members in the states, they can carry out the activities so easily without any restriction from their state authority. And again, the recommendation letters to help the young people in the different places, the members of the state. And again, now UNFPA supporting the young people. What I can say is the other young people listening to us. YAP has the page. We have the Facebook page for the Youth Advisory Panel, UNFPA South Sudan, and we have the Twitter handle for Youth Advisory Panel, South Sudan. We believe we might not have physical attached to all of you, but then if you can reach out to us through our social media platforms, we can be able to also listen to your voices. And again, for you to be part of the Youth Advisory Panel, meaning you're already doing something in your personal capacity, in creating change, in mitigating HIV, in the menstrual hygiene, meaning you're already doing something. Because UNFPA is just not going to pick any other person after 2 years. Okay, our regime is done. How about they bring more people? So it's time now that you start being a change maker. Start going out, doing your activities. So by the time our time expires, when they're calling in for the new members, you are ready to sit, because the questions they're going to ask are not any question from America. It's going to be based on the activities you're going to do. Yes, you've applied for this. What have you done? And then what do you think the issues are? Like, you speak from reality. There's no faking there. There's no way you're going to lie, because they will know that you're lying. But then if you're in the background, and to every young person, let's cease lamenting and complaining. Complaining and lamenting. No one is going to help us in our rokubat. No one is going to help us in our chairs. No one is going to help us in our comfort beds. Let's go out there. There's so many opportunities, especially for South Sudanese. So many opportunities online. What we need to also bring, laziness cannot be meaning you are doing absolutely nothing. Are you grabbing more opportunities? We should be so vigilant enough. Hating the foreigners is not a solution to me. But then how are we going to be innovative enough that we grab in the spaces they have taken from us? You're going to be emotionally draining yourself, getting angry at them, and then at the end of the day you realize they're also innocent. You just got the space. As much as we are advocating for the government, we are not fighting this government. Advocacy is a relationship. There's no way the government will understand us until we come in understanding. Go read about the youth policy. Go read about the Constitution of South Sudan. Go read about the CPA. Those are the things you need to read. So by the time you're talking to the government official, you're talking to any other person, you know that this is your right. And then imagine you're just talking from an ignorance.
Okay.
I am grateful for every other person working with us. Yes. And to every other young person, let's preach peace. Okay. There's no way South Sudan will become a better place unless we preach peace, justice, and harmony. Thank you.
Okay.
My name remains Anna Maneno, the chairperson for Youth Advisory Panel,
Okay.
South Sudan.
All right. Thank you so much, Anna, for that. Now, Mary, yes, what is your last remark regarding the topic of today, and also as UNFPA who are supporting young people, more especially in the country, including Zone 72 Youth Program? What's your message?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to thank iRadio for consistently keeping the Zone 72 program, which is one of the platform for the young people to use. I want the young people outside there to seek for opportunity to come and discuss their concerns on this program. This is your program for you to be heard from this program. So we took this opportunity today to come to this program also to talk about the Youth Advisory Panel. It is an open platform for every young person. So I would like to thank iRadio for that, and I would like to say UNFPA remains committed to fulfill the potentials of young people. We are willing to work with all the partners, the government institution, other UN agencies, NGO, civil society, to develop the young people of this country. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And youth can always send us questions about adolescent health to youthzone72@gmail.com or call 0922009497. Like our Facebook page, Youth Zone 72. And the hotlines include for GBV is 623, COVID-19 is 6666, adolescent health immediate is 885. With that, we have come to the end of Zone 72 Youth Program, which tackled youth participation in decision making, and my guests in the studio were Mary Marley, a program analyst, adolescent and youth, UNFPA South Sudan, and Anna Maneno, Youth Advisory Panel chairperson. Thank you for participating in the show, and remember to join me again the coming Saturday at 4 p.m. for another edition of the program. My name is Winnie Eric. Until next time, stay safe.